Welcome again to Climate Responsive Architecture videos, Unit 3, part number 2. So we are going to see about further about the wind movement principles, which are called stack effect and chimney effect. In the last videos, we were seeing about the window openings, fenestrations, how the wind movement principles are being affected by means of the built forms, etc. So the last chapter we were dealing about this. Now this chapter we will also see about the stack effect or chimney effect. So we understand the wind generally moves on one direction. Okay, so if you have two windows, so it's called as the cross ventilation. So we also understand that the warm air tries to rise up. Okay, so it's a natural phenomena during your daytime. The warm air tries to rise up because of the radiation effects. So and the cool air tries to descend down and come. So this is a natural phenomena which takes place inside a building. Okay, so when you have openings on your top of the building or fenestrations which are on the top of the building, if you create a shaded courtyard or something like a suction effect takes place because of the shaded courtyard or because of the courtyard principle, and the warm air tries to move up, okay, and the cold air tries to descend down. This is a natural phenomena which takes place inside the building if the building is properly oriented and properly designed accordingly. Okay, so this is called as the stack effect or the chimney effect. This is created by means of pressures of the positive pressure from here, and there is some kind of negative pressure on the top, so it tries to push the wind on the topmost of the building. Okay, so when you have both the stack effect and the chimney effect and your cross ventilation, we call it as the permeable buildings. So we can see that later. So if you see the ventilation principle, so we call it as the stack effect, results when the air in the building warms and becomes more buoyant than outside air and rises to escape out of the openings high in the building. So the air inside the building is actually getting heated up, okay, because of your radiation effects from outside the building. So this heated up air which creates a buoyancy, okay, or something like a heaviness which tries to push things outside. So this things, what happens, it tries to push outside the building due to the openings on the top of the building. So this is what the natural phenomenon. The cool air descends down, the warm air rises up. The cool air descends down. This phenomena can be seen in valleys, in hills, etc. Okay, so this phenomena is one of the techniques or the passive cooling techniques which can be used for natural ventilation. Yeah. So the stack effect is of various methods. So the first method is using a solar chimney. So it's a very interesting method of using a solar chimney, which actually creates an air changes per hour. So what happens is when you have a room like this, when you have a glass structure like that, so this glass structure is a black painted glass. So you have to understand this is a black painted glass. So what happens when there is going to be radiation from outside, the heat which is gained from outside, and because of the glass, black color glass, it creates a lot of heat here inside. That heat will try to create a type of effect here, and it tries to escape through the vent which is placed on the topmost corner of the building. So when it tries to escape through the topmost corner of the building, there is a small amount of air which tries to come inside and get sucked up inside and tries to escape. So this natural phenomena takes place all around the day. Okay, so the solar chimney can be used during a summer and also in winter, which we can see in the later chapters. So this is the effect of the solar chimney, which is due to the stack effect or the chimney effect. The solar chimney can either be perpendicular or it can even have a slanted glass portion, which can be more effective because of the slantness and which can create more amount of heat here. So that is one thing which is called solar chimney. Then we have the assisted stack effect. So if you have the windward direction from this way, your roof structure must be provided in such a manner that the wind travels from windward side from down, the cooler descends down, and the warm air tries to escape through the leeward direction. So the high window acting as a wind scoop inlet together with the outer must become a stack effect tendency of warm inside air to rise. Reorienting wind scoop to leeward reinforces stack effect and increases airflow. So if this is the windward direction and if this is the leeward direction, So your scoop, okay, if it's placed either way, what happens is your wind comes inside the building and never tries to escape. So if it's placed on the opposite side, that is if it's placed on the leeward side, the wind which flows from the bottom of the building, it creates a heat buildup here and tries to escape through the leeward side of the building, which becomes a natural phenomena. So the combination of both the stack effect and also the cross ventilation is called as the permeable buildings. So the new concept is using the cross ventilation, that is you have the openings on the same, that is opposite sides, and the openings of the windows are called as the stack cross ventilation, and openings on top is called as the stack ventilation. So if you combine these two techniques of the cross ventilation and also stack ventilation, it is actually called as the permeable buildings. The 3D picture will clearly show you like the wind is going to move from here, there is actually a cross ventilation and also a stack ventilation on top. The wind is going to move from here, it's a shaded courtyard or a shaded portion, so it tries to move inside the building like that and moves on the top vent portion, or it moves through the topmost portion of the building through wind scoopers, etc. So this is the concept or the phenomena of the permeable buildings. So now we generally try to create a lot of porous buildings, okay, so which means with a lot of fenestrations or openings which are on the windward side and also on the leeward side, to better achieve a better wind speed inside the building and achieve good thermal comfort. So the best example by an Indian architect is the Kanchenjunga apartments done or designed by architect Charles Correa. So if you see the Kanchenjunga apartments, it's a duplex apartment which is provided for all the users or all the clients. So the wind travels from one of the sides of the building and it tries to go outside the building like this. It's got a balcony here and tries to go outside the building. So it's a single unit for one single user. So it's a unit for one single user. Then for the next user it becomes like that. So it is vice versa for the next user. And it is such a plan, it's a duplex plan in such a manner that all the users of the building get proper natural ventilation. Okay, so that is how the Charles Correa's Kanchenjunga apartments is still unique today, and it creates a good amount of thermal comfort because of the openings of the buildings, and the openings are also planned in such a manner it's on the sea side. Okay, so because of the sea breezes, okay, so it says because of the sea breezes are from the west, the main facades face east and west and are protected from storm drains and sun by a buffer zone of double height terrace gardens. So they have protected it by terrace gardens, and also they have created some kind of openings on the east and west because the sea breeze is on the east and west. So we have already mentioned you earlier that the openings depend on the windward side and the leeward side, which depends on the location also. See, the double volume provides some opportunity for stack ventilation. So we understand because of the double volume which is created here, so which creates a stack effect like that. So the warm air tries to go up and the cool air tries to descend down. So the combined effect of stack and cross ventilation is due to the sum of pressures dividing both the air flows. Since the pressure varies as the square of velocity, the combined cooling effect is non-linear. The combined flow rate is equal to the square root of the sum of the squares of the individual flow rates. So there is a lot of combined effect or the combined velocity because of the cross ventilation and the stack ventilation, which is actually called as the permeable building. So the best example is one of the best example for a commercial area is a case study, a study of Eastgate complex in Harare, Zimbabwe. So Mark Pierce is the architect. So you can understand the concept was taken from a termite mound. So this is the termite mound. The concept was taken from termite mound. So we also call it as the biomimicry, which means emulating few ideas from the nature, or trying to take some ideas from the nature and incorporating in the current building setups or current modern techniques of the building. So if you see, this building is actually two buildings like that. So it's a shady courtyard here, and there are a lot of small openings here which tries to give you a lot of wind flow inside the building because of a smaller openings. As we said, if you have smaller openings on the windward side, so you will get more wind, and this also protects the radiation. So a lot of smaller openings are there, as you can see. The roof is also a vaulted roof, which actually gives you a lot of good effect of roofing, and there are a lot of small slit openings which you can see like casement windows, which gives you a lot of wind inside the building. So this is a very typical example where the wind flow is inside the building and the hot air rises up in the building. So you can see in the section the hot air rises up, okay, all throughout the day, and the cooler tries to descend down from the building, from the car parking area or from the few shops which are provided here in the building below. So this building is totally a sustainable building, okay, and it almost is saving about 95% of the energy because of the natural ventilation. So almost the air conditioning is almost typically avoided in the whole commercial sector. So it's a very great achievement by an architect by just neglecting or trying to avoid the air conditioning in a commercial setup. So this is how we have to work in the future to create a better sustainable building by means of a reduction of energy and by means of providing natural comfort by means of natural ventilation. The next technique which can provide you natural ventilation and comfort is the courtyard. So we must know the principle of the courtyard, how the air movement principle takes place in the courtyard. So if it's a midday in the courtyard, what happens is there is going to be a lot of heat gain inside the building, okay. The heat gain inside the building is inside the building through the rooms. It will come here and it will build up a heat here, and this will try to move up because the courtyard is open in the middle, okay. There is a middle opening in the courtyard. So we have seen that if there is an opening, the hot air tries to descend up, okay. So all the hot air will descend up because of the openings in the midday, and during the evening again it tries to the warm air which is already built up here will slowly try to go outside the building because the atmosphere has already cooled down. So because of that there is an air exchange because of the atmospheric cooling. So because of that, again whatever is the heat built up inside the building, it tries to go outside the building through the courtyard. So during the night, after the heat has traveled up, this will try to get filled up by means of the cooler, by means of the cooler or the volume which will be filled up by means of the other airs. So that is a very important technique in the courtyard. So if you see the buildings designed by Mughals, buildings designed by a lot of palaces which were there earlier were designed with fountains. So you can see a fountain here which creates an evaporative cooling, okay. So the fountain is always on during the daytime, which creates a lot of humidity, okay, and because of that there is a creation of evaporative cooling around the building, and because of that there is a lot of air movement around the building, and these corridors or these rooms which are here are getting cooled up because of the evaporative cooling technique and the wind movement, and this is used in both during day and night. So courtyard were used for both lighting and also wind influences or wind velocity. So courtyard is of various types. You can have a smaller courtyard, you may have a larger courtyard, you may have the pockets of courtyards. So it depends. So what type of courtyard are you going to use for what type of climatic condition? So it may vary for an hot dry climate, it may vary for a warm humid climate, it may vary for an moderate climate, etc. So the airflow in the courtyard is also very important, okay. It tries to give a proper airflow. If it's a larger courtyard, the airflow is also good, and if it's a very small courtyard, it can provide shading and the airflow can be a little bit maximized by means of other windows and etc, okay. So the airflow is always on top, okay, generally on top, and it tries to go down if the courtyard is a little more, and according to the wind direction the courtyard also can be placed. So that's very important of the placement of the courtyard and also the techniques of the courtyard, which we can see in detail in the next forthcoming chapters also. So the next technique is the wind catchers and extractors. We generally have in an industrial section, if you know, like there will be a lot of ventilators on top. So those are the wind catchers and extractors. So we have cool air which will descend down. So we have windows which can bring in a cool air, and we have a larger or a smaller window section on top which lets the hot air outside, and there is a little bit of radiation effect, and because of which there is a buoyancy effect which is created. We saw it in the solar chimney, and this also tries to push off the hot air outside. So there is a lot of effects which you can see, something like an induction effect, suction effect, there's a chimney effect, there is a diverted through flow which can be used in various locations according to the wind directions. So we have atrium ventilation. As we see, generally what happens, we have a courtyard, but if the courtyard is going to get heated up very highly because of no shade, we generally shade it by means of some roof, but with some kind of openings which can let the hot air outside. We call it as the atrium. So the atrium is generally used in shopping malls, etc., and maybe in some kind of institutional buildings, etc., and some kind of factory buildings. Okay, so which creates a effect of the natural ventilation or the natural phenomena of ventilation, which gives you air changes per hour easily. So if you have wind towers, so what happens when you have a wind tower? So you have a tower here, and this wind tower is responsible for the exchange of air. So airflow during the presence of wind, so from top the airflow is collected like that, so it comes down, it goes towards the first floor level and plinth level, etc. And when there is an absence of wind, there is a little bit of airflow from below. So if there is more wind, the airflow is from top. If there is a wind which is very less, the airflow is from below, and it tries to push the hot air up, and it tries to push the hot air outside. So it acts as a dual phenomena where you can have the airflow from outside to inside and from inside to outside also. So if you see these things, you can see it in industrial buildings. So this actually rotates, and then it tries to push the wind according to the wind direction it rotates, and it tries to pull the air and acts as an exhaust fan. So we have some kind of exhausts, we have some kind of wind scoops, etc. So for the airflow. So the oldest technique which was used is the wind towers. So the wind towers generally was a technique which was used in hot, dry climates or arid climates. We call it a semi-arid or arid climate, which is mostly in Iran, Iraq, and some parts of UAE, some parts of Saudi Arabia, etc. In the desert regions, what happens? There are a wind tower which is actually present here, which tries to bring in a lot of cool wind inside the building, and there's some kind of water body here which tries to give you the evaporative cooling effect, and it brings in a lot of cool air. So again, something like a vice versa phenomena happens. If there is going to be hot air which is going to build up here, that hot air is going to be let out like this in terms of smaller openings here, and also hot air can be let out like this in the same wind tower, etc. Because of the negative pressure which is created here, the hot air is going outside. So the wind is generally taken from top, and the dust is also filtered by means of some kind of charcoal, etc., which will be placed here, which we call it as the passive downdraft evaporative cooling technique, which was mostly used by the hot dry climate sections or semi-arid people. So it's a very interesting wind tower which will give you a lot of essence of wind inside the building. So it's very important to know about the wind towers. So technical things we can know later in the later sections one by one. So you can understand how the wind towers performing by means of its phenomena of natural movement of the air. So these are the typical examples. So this is in BedZ community, London. So we can just you can just go through this. So this is called BedZ. Okay, it's called Beddington Zero Energy Development. So we have something called wind scoopers. So which tries to take in the wind according to the direction of the wind. So we have a building in India. So this is again in India. So we have certainly wind towers which brings in a lot of wind in all the directions and tries to cool the building. And we have a building, it's a little bit older technique or old building or wind tower, which is in Dubai, UAE. So you can see how the wind has been influencing them, and how they have brought in wind by means of this wind towers and wind catches. So we come to the last portion. So what happens is, after your natural phenomena of or the passive technique, the next thing you have to go for a mechanical cooling if you want a comfort. So we generally go for fans. So we generally go for ceiling fans. We can also go for the wall fans, etc. We can also go for the table fans, etc. So we prefer ceiling fans because it tries to reduce a little bit of heat and tries to distribute the air evenly. So the ceiling fans are actually recommended. Okay, and but if it's a tropical region, if it's on top floor of the roof, the ceiling fan is also not very effective because the heat is also very high here. So we have to use a vice versa technique of using a wall fan and trying to provide a ventilator on top. So that also can be effectively used. So those details can be seen in detail when you go for the type of climate. So whatever is the type of climate, whether it is going to give you a hot air outside, etc., we will decide accordingly and go for the techniques. So generally, to understand what is the wind direction of each and every location, we have a chart called as the windrows chart. So the windrows chart is a very important chart which is available in the data, Indian Meteorological Development data. This chart is given in your climate consultant software. So this chart you can just understand basically like what is a windrows chart. So it's like a wind wheel. So this is the direction of the wind. So this orange color is called as the direction of the wind. So we understand in January it is mostly northeast monsoon. So the wind is actually pushing from the northeast corner of any plot or whatever it is, corner of any location. So it comes from northeast. So we understand the temperature and relative humidity. So this is the relative humidity and this is the temperature. The temperature is little higher. So it's in Trichy. So we are seeing it for Trichy. So the temperature is little higher in January, not very high. Okay. And the humidity is also good. So it's almost green. Green means it's good humidity. During January, we know it's a summer season. So slowly the summer is going to start from March. So the wind is actually moving from the northeast portion to the eastern portion. The temperature is already increased very highly and the humidity is already decreasing, and the wind speed is also okay. The wind speed is also not very high. It's medium during March. So April, if you see, the wind speed is, the wind velocity is also little lesser, okay, and the distribution of the side, the direction of the wind is also changing towards the western side and towards the southern side, towards the south and western side. So it's almost everywhere during April. So you can plan out like what type of openings can be done according to the summer. So here the temperature is very high during the summer in Trichy, and the relative humidity is very low. So the wind is very essential for the people in Trichy. So we have to know how to give them proper comfort because and providing them wind inside the building. So if we come to July, we come with the southwest monsoon. You can see the direction of the wind is already changed, okay, and the southwest monsoon is also having a good wind or breeze, and the wind speed is also very high during the southwest monsoon. Although you have a temperature, little higher temperature, although you have a little lesser relative humidity, because of the wind speed, more wind speed, and if you can create better openings inside the building, so it can give you a better thermal comfort inside the building. So this is the clear picture of the climate consultant, which is going to show you the windrows chart. So concludingly, we have to conclude by means of air or wind can be used effectively for cooling by good proposal of built form and fenestrations in a building. So that's very important, how to provide fenestrations in the building. And providing fenestrations with proper optimum ventilation strategies is highly recommended. Okay, so providing fenestrations to gain more wind and also to reduce heat and also to gain more daylight is very important as a sustainable architecture student. So we have the list of references. You can just go through the list of references. As we have told, we have two websites which are very important. One is www.windy.com. You can go through the website, and one is called windfinder.com. You can find out what are the wind directions, etc., for each and every location. Of course, we have a lot of weatherspark.com, etc., wunderground.com. So all these websites will give you the exact wind directions. Regarding the technical aspects of velocity and speed of the wind inside the building, we can see it in the later chapters. Thank you.